Yet? Are we?
Yes.
Yeah, there we are. There we are. All right, let's get it going.
We should observe the ancient ritual of traditional pre-fight donuts.
Yeah! Fear does not exist in this dojo, does it?
Am I the baddest mofo low down around this time?
Shut up!
Break, not hit back.
Silly Caucasian girl likes to play with samurai swords.
You will all refer to me by the name Betty.
I know Kung Fu.
Thank you, Chuck Norris.
I said I don't want trouble.
Only a ninja can destroy a ninja.
Defeat does not exist in this dojo, does it? No,
Now, who wants to go home? And who wants to go with me?
All right, and welcome to Netflix, the martial arts movie podcast. Yeah.
Did you? You said
Did you
Netflix.
just call us Netflix?
Oh
Yeah.
man, I gotta go back and delete that because we're gonna get fucking flagged for for
All
saying
right,
the
start
wrong
again.
word.
What else is new?
What we get flagged
Play
for
the video
bullshit.
again.
So, yeah. Welcome to KickFlix.
Don't come after
It's
us,
like
US Tennis
Netflix.
Association.
It's like Netflix, but with a kick. Welcome. Your favorite podcast where you come to watch people who love martial arts movies talk and review their favorite martial arts movie in a loving yet comedic way. Because some of these movies aren't the best.
Well, let's just say loving. Let's not say loving because some of this involves an awful lot of hating.
That's correct. I'm gonna hate one. I want to hate today's movie, to be honest with you. So, my name is Larry Sines. With me, as usual, is Jeff.
Hey, hello.
And we have Mike.
KickFlix.
And today's special guest for the episode is fellow Geek Bro alum and panelist and co-panelist of the Mount Geekmore podcast, Mr. Daniel DeBona.
What up, y'all?
Straight from the Shaolin Hills of Alabama. All right. So, so today's movie we're going to talk and review is the 2002 Shaolin Soccer.
We should have like we need the soundboard for this. We're developing as a show, we're growing, and I feel like I don't want to be overtly racist or anything.
We need a gong. That's a fact. We need a gong. No, we need a gong.
It's true.
You guys keep making it seem as if gongs are inherently racist. They're not, because we're talking about movies that have gongs in them. This is not a race thing. It's,
I do love so can we talk about, just really quick, we've been hit with a few weird copyright strikes.
Mm-hmm. So
like
It's
it's
gotta
so
be-
weird
Yeah.
that we're now so paranoid about what we can and can't play or show on the podcasts of the Geek Bro Network, this being one of them, because we got one from Ong Bak, we got one from whatever. Like it's
the Ong Bak one made sense because we showed video
with no
of the
audio,
movie.
right?
with no audio, but we showed video, and we got a notice saying that it won't be available on YouTube in Thailand. And I was like, I don't give a fuck. But I was fine with it. I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
We're not gonna be seen in Thailand. Well, sorry, one person.
Sorry,
who could have had 10
Lewis's
years from now.
distant
Yeah.
relatives.
Yeah.
Like I'm fine. But the one that we got today was for the Mount Geekmore podcast, which was from the U.S. Tennis Association.
Yeah. And it was in the first 4 seconds, which is our
They could
opening
just-
credits.
The intro video.
They could just
It was in
sense
the first 4 seconds, and then I sent a dispute, and then in order to do, I don't know if you guys know this, but in order to send a dispute through YouTube, they make you check off 14 different boxes to make sure that you read everything, because I guess they're just tired of dealing with bullshit disputes. And they're like, it's not a dispute if you say that you're not making money from this. It's not a dispute if you say that that you are a big fan of it or whatever the fuck. If you're doing a tribute, this is not a reason to dispute. And I was like, no, none of these things are accurate. And then so I finally got to the end where I was like, I'm going to enter dispute. And they're like, enter your reasons why you're disputing. And I was like, because this is false.
This is bullshit, man. That's what it says.
Yeah. Yeah. Come on, man. Stop being bitches. Anyways.
Yeah.
Um,
We have to be concerned when we do Shaolin tennis.
then
Yes.
they may.
Yeah, I'm even scared of saying the fucking word tennis right now. The fact that I even said the word U.S. Tennis Association, which is the people who complained about us, I'm fucking scared of that. They're like, oh, we own that name. Oh, fuck you.
Shaolin Soccer, everybody.
Yes.
Shaolin Soccer. We're gonna start with the IMDb descriptions. Shaolin Soccer 2001, technically, but 2002 in the United States.
2002 on the Miramax release.
Yeah. A young Shaolin follower reunites with his discouraged brothers to form a soccer team using their martial arts skills to their advantage. Directed by Stephen Chow. Directed, written, and yeah.
Yeah.
Can I tell you what the Wikipedia page says? Hello?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I asked a question, and it was weird that I didn't get a response.
Did you need the affirmation?
I don't know. I didn't want people talking over each other. All right. So, Shaolin Soccer is a 2001 Hong Kong sports comedy film directed by Stephen Chow, who also stars in the lead. And it says a former Shaolin monk reunites his 5 brothers years after their master's death to apply their superhuman martial arts skills to play football and bring Shaolin Kung Fu to the masses.
Yeah.
Superhuman. Did not read that in the IMDb. Didn't know that was going to happen. Did not expect that to happen because I was reading the IMDb one and I was like, oh.
It's weird that I have to make this statement, but based on the text Neri sent me earlier today, this is a comedy.
Is it?
Wait, no. Wait. Hold on.
Is it?
Because the statement that you made, Jeff, was that you said it's an airplane style mocking. What was it the phrase that you used?
I said it was like naked. I said like Naked Gun, like the comic, like the spoofy kind of Naked Gun-ish kind of stuff.
And that's what I didn't. I was like, oh, I didn't pick up on that immediately. I'm sorry. That's not what I picked up on. So let's go. What we do is we go around the horn and give your 60-second thought process on watching the movie this time around. And if it's your first time, tell us it's your first time. And if it's not, if you've seen it before, tell us that too. But your 60-second basic overall generalization thought on the movie. Jeff?
So this was actually my addition to the wheel. I saw this movie in college on a pirated copy. Again, thank you, Anime Hurricane, across from FIU. And I adored the movie. I still have the bootleg in my DVD box of this film. That's what. I've been a soccer fan since I was a little kid. So when I saw, and I loved martial arts movies. So when I saw that the two were put together, the fact that it was so ridiculous and over the top, I actually loved it. This is one of the movies that Christy and I both agree. Like, Christy loves this movie too. Like, she was all about me getting it. I sat down to watch it, and Nathan was sitting next to me, my 7-year-old, and he was dying. He was keeping up with some of the subtitles. His reading's okay, but it's not as fast to keep up with a lot of those quick subtitles. But he was loving it, and that made me feel awesome that a little 7-year-old could enjoy the hell out of this movie too, with not really knowing the plot or understanding everything about it. I love this movie. I've always loved this movie. That's one of the reasons I put it on the list, because I think it's an outside the box, because it is kung fu, but it's and it's two of the things that I genuinely enjoy.
Okay. DeBona?
So this is my first time seeing this movie. Based on the title, I kind of figured I knew what I was in for. I remember hearing about the movie, but not knowing really anything about it. So for the most part, I went into it completely blind, fired it up last night. My initial thoughts after finishing this movie are and this is going to sound ridiculous with as crazy as the movie is, but it played it too safe. This movie either needed to be better and be a good movie, or it needed to lean all the way into being bad and go for so bad it's good, or lean more into the funny. Ultimately, the movie just kind of fell flat for me. There are a couple scenes that I know we'll get to, and we'll talk about some things that did work for me. But man, I don't know. I wasn't feeling it. I felt like it rode the middle just too much. It didn't get outlandish enough, and it didn't get serious enough for me to go either way with it. I know that sounds crazy to say it didn't get outlandish enough, but those outlandish moments took themselves too seriously, in my opinion, for me to enjoy. I'm serious, for me to really enjoy it. And so I didn't hate it, but it just kind of fell flat for me.
can I spend my minute asking what the fuck are you talking about? like the what? So I no, I mean that was for the funnies.
I
Yes.
know, I'm
But
with
I
you.
want to ask, what film in your mind goes far enough? Like what is a dangerously funny movie for
Have you seen this German snuff film?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Like there was something about the humor or what they were going for that was just kind of lost on me, and I just didn't find it funny very often.
So the reason for that is because Stephen Chow, he had already been an established comedic actor in China and in Asia in general, and he wanted to finally do a movie to break out in the West. And what he believed the West liked was slapstick physical comedy. So that's why, because this movie is very different from all his other types of comedy.
Let's go through the 60-second review before we get it.
Right.
That's already getting into
I know
an answer to one of those questions.
No, we're gonna get into it because it is true. Like, so I saw this movie after I remember seeing the trailers when I went to go see some random movie because it was like supposed to be like this big release from this European, this Asian martial arts comedy. You know, like I remember seeing the trailer of it, and it felt at that time very anime to me because they were doing these moves and playing sports, and there was an anime about soccer that I was like watching, and I can't remember the name of it.
Tsubasa.
Right, yeah. And it was awesome because they would like do like it was like so anime that they would like wind up for a kick and a fucking phoenix would come out and blow it to shit, and they would there was like a and there was there's a whole subgenre of anime that's sports anime. And I had seen this movie. I remember seeing the trailer, and then I was like, oh wow. And then I remember seeing Kung Fu Hustle in the movie theaters, which was Stephen Chow, and I was just watching that movie like, this is a fucking cartoon. He literally runs with like a billion like blurry legs in Kung Fu Hustle, which is on the wheel.
Yeah,
to be picked. So get ready, Nary. You're gonna have to watch another one of this guy's movies. And
I hope that was a good one.
And they're both good. Like this was I feel a lot of the like detachment from it is a cultural difference. Like that, like humor is very different in other countries.
You're getting off the 60-second review thing. You're going on.
I'm just saying that
you're getting into the conversation about the movie, and we'll talk about that. But I just want your personal 60-second review of the movie. 60-second overall.
Next time, then.
You're the one that came up with this segment. This is your segment. You're the one that was like, maybe
I got
we
interrupted 3 times in my 60 seconds
because you keep straying off of your view and you keep talking about the movie itself. And I'm like, no, I'm not asking you for the history of the actor. I'm asking you for your 60-second thought of the movie, not what the actor did, the other films that the actor did, your thoughts on the other actors' movies. I'm not asking that. Your overall thought on this movie.
Does this count against 60 seconds? Yeah.
All right. This is my first time viewing. This is the first time viewing this movie. It took me 2 times to watch it because I watched first for like 20 minutes and I was like, this is utterly stupid. And then I thought to myself, don't be Mike in Blind Fury. So let's take a break and we're gonna de-stress. I don't know what's going on. Maybe tomorrow I'll be better mentally prepared to watch this silliness. And then, sure enough, the next day came around and I'm watching it and I was like, oh fuck, I forgot. All right. So I'm watching this movie and I'm like, okay, I just don't like it. It's just not my bag. It's just not my cup of tea. It is what it is. There are a couple of scenes that I thought, oh, that part is funny. I just didn't find this movie funny. And then, but there were a couple of scenes that I thought were funny. And then I liked the last championship match. That's it. That's what I liked about the movie. And then the Bona texted me and be like, who picked this movie? And I know with that question doesn't come with like, yo, who picked this? Like, it doesn't, it's not like,
yo, I need to send them a gift basket.
Yeah. It's not like, hey, so who picked Schindler's List? Because this is amazing. Like, it wasn't, you know what I mean? It wasn't like, you don't get that question about certain movies. There's no, nobody asked like, hey, so the pianist, who picked this one? Like, it doesn't matter. That doesn't happen. So I said, I'll give you one guess. And he said, fucking Jeff. And I was like, yeah, damn right. And I said, to be fair, Jeff just put it on the list. The Wheel picked the movie. So we can't even argue against The Wheel. But that's my 60-second review. I wasn't a big fan of it. Didn't think it was funny enough. But I did like a couple of thoughts here.
Now, this is a good segue to talk about how everybody disagrees with both of you. And this is the highest rated critics movie that we've done to date. It has a 90%. Yeah, I know.
But we gotta beat it though.
Am I lying?
No.
Find one to beat it.
Am I lying?
We did. Shang-Chi.
But that's a kind of all right, fine.
But that's a real movie. Is that what you're gonna say? What were you gonna say?
We did the special on my rooftop. That's a new movie. It's not part of the original Wheel.
So but it has a 90%.
It doesn't count because it's a new movie.
It doesn't count because it's not on the Wheel. We just decided to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
So they have a 90% critic score and an 84% audience score. So it ties on the audience score with Ong Bak. But the
Isn't it weird? I always find it weird when the critics like it more than the audience, because it's supposed to be. It's usually a vast majority of the time the other way around. Usually the critics are like, a little too high nose, and then the fucking audience is like, "Fuck you! This movie was awesome," or "This movie's better than you give it, critics." And this movie's the other way around. This one's the critics are like, "This is great," and there are some people that are like, "Let's slow down, critics. Let's slow this shit down."
Mike with Blind Fury, because Siskel and Ebert gave it 2 thumbs up, and Mike hated the shit out of that movie.
And they're both dead. So who's right? Who wins?
I'd like to see who gives it a thumbs up now, Siskel and or Ebert.
You see like a zombie hand reaching up,
and that robot voice from the end of the career, like 2 thumbs up.
Oh no! See, I just made fun of them being dead, not the fun of their disability.
You can make fun of a dead person. So you can't make fun of a dead person's disability. That's where the rules are. That's where the line is crossed. Like, make fun of a dead person, but not the dead person's disability.
No, I will say this. I genuinely feel at the time that it came out, the only people I knew who liked it, or like around that time, because I was kind of late to that party too. When I saw it and I introduced it to the only people that liked it were martial arts people. Like because even back then, like
are we talking about Shaolin soccer? Or are we talking about Blind Fury?
Shaolin soccer. Yeah, Blind Fury is
never to be spoken of again.
Well, here's the thing. I had like going into it, you could not have told me that Blind Fury being a comedy. I'm still like, well, okay, fine, if you say so. But this was very obviously cartoony. Like Stephen Chow was very influenced by Looney Tunes, and he was like he made like Bugs Bunny style shit, especially when like in the scenes with his brother getting the shit kicked out of him by his boss, like smacked over the head with a bottle, like, "Hey, you idiot!"
Favorite gag. That's my favorite gag. One of my favorite gags of the movie.
That it's just exaggerated, and I do feel like there's an element of like cultural detachment where you kind of have to go on. Like, I know what's like. I did not think Blind Fury was funny, and it was made for U.S. audiences. This was not made for me. This was not made for us, any of us. It was.
I disagree. I disagree because by one of your
Chinese. Neri, it's in Chinese.
But by one of your accounts.
Neri, it's in Chinese.
Hold on. I believe it was either you or Jeff. One of you just said
it was me
that he wanted to reach an American audience because he knew that he was already successful in the Asian market, and he wanted to reach the American audience, and his from what I just heard from Jeff, that this is what he assumed American comedies were like. This is what he assumed Americans found funny. It's slapstick. So if that's not aiming for the American audience,
I don't think he's aiming for the American audience, because soccer is not even he's aiming for a universal audience. He was aiming for it to be able to be shown anywhere, where the dialogue, which the jokes and all that stuff were very, very were very, very surface and like just crude, and like they're dumb, but some of them are like pretty clever. Like this, when he straight up tells the girl, where he's like, "No, like, what are you talking about?" Like the girl falls in love with him, and he's like, "Fuck off," like that kind of subversive story element where the hero is supposed to get the girl and all that shit, and then she shows up as a fucking monk with the head shaved and thing. Like all of that was very like in an effort to be like, this is just a story to show all of this craziness. So like you know, like the Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote is universally, you're able to show that anywhere, and people get it. You know what I mean?
And you're mentioning the Looney Tunes thing and the stuff like that, and you asked me like how outlandishly crazy, you know, when I'm saying it needed to, it was too safe. It needed to lean. You mentioned Kung Fu Hustle. You talk like that when I'm looking for cartoony style, like this is supposed to be slapstick. I'm looking for you know, Kung Pao and Kung Fu Hustle, you know, like, and that's what I'm saying when that's what I'm talking about when I'm saying they played it too safe. Yeah, there were some elaborate action sequences with the way that they did the ball, the way they moved the ball down the field and some stuff like that. But that's what I'm talking about when I say they played it too safe. And you're like, how outlandish does something have to be funny to you? Yeah. I guess when it started and I started to get that feel, when I kept waiting for them to cross that line into that Looney Tunes style feel, it would feel like right then they tugged the reins. And that's why I said I feel like they played it too safe.
See, like go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say like one of the gags that I absolutely loved in the movie was when he's fighting the guys outside the bar and he cocks back to kick and they're like, "You said you were gonna use Kung Fu." He's like, "I'm using soccer," and he does that pinball shit where he hits like 4 of them and they go flying in the air. Like that was to me like classic like slapstick like cartoon, you know, ridiculousness.
I had no problem with how quote unquote far they went with it. Like I don't think they needed to go crazier. I just didn't think it was funny. You're talking to a guy, by the way, who to the audience, I have a tattoo of Tom and Jerry on me. Like I fucking love slapstick. Like this is not, you know what I mean? But I love funny slapstick, and this wasn't. I laughed at a scene where they're in training. They're like playing the first team. And the team is just literally there just to kick their ass, right? So I laughed when the wrench fell out of the guy's shorts. He goes, "Yeah, we're here to play a clean game," and the wrench fell out of the shorts. And he goes, "Oh, I'm just a mechanic." And I'm like, "Get the fuck out of here!"
I don't want to lose.
I kind of like smiled at that, and then I laughed when the main dude is like crawling through, and then he ends up being in an actual battlefield because it's fucking war, and he gets a helmet and a gun. That part made me laugh. I think that's it. I'm pretty sure that's the only parts of the movie that made me laugh. Because everything else, I was just like, either I'm not into this or like, okay.
Yeah, I had a lot of those. I had one laugh out loud moment, and it was during the final game when Iron Shirt takes over as keeper. And he calls and he's like, "There's something I've wanted to tell you for 20 years. I've always loved you." And then he's like, "Oh, tell your wife what I said." And then he hangs up. That legitimately had me doubled over laughing.
That's
but
literally
that was the only really good belly laugh I got out of it.
I laughed.
The only funny part. Yeah,
I laughed so hard at that because it reminded me. We like Neri and I have that joke of the Harlem Nights.
Yeah,
the like, "Hey, put your mother on the phone." Yeah, I ain't never coming back. Like,
it's Richie. Yeah, I ain't never coming home again.
Yeah.
And then he hangs up. My favorite part about that in Harlem Nights, by the way, is when he hangs up, is the affirmation that he gives himself. Like, you just did the right thing, bro.
Yeah. That was a good move.
See, like with me, there was a couple of like little like. Oh yeah, my dad, of course, in Wuhan it was a hit. Great.
Peter Mercatini puts in Wuhan it was a hit. Rookie says, "Shout out to Anime Hurricane, R.I.P."
Yeah. So there was a couple of bits that I love, like when they're doing that terrible, which I'll admit it's terrible, that Shaolin monk song at the bar. And then the guys yell at them, and then Ironhead just goes, "The lyrics were too intellectual, I told you." And it's what?
Yeah.
You know?
I did chuckle at that. They go, "Huh, okay." Yeah.
And when I was talking about like the airplane / like a Naked Gun kind of thing, there was a bit right at the beginning when he's first trying to get the Mighty Legs trying to get the guy to take Kung Fu lessons or whatever, and he starts telling him the story of Kung Fu and Shaolin, and then when it comes back from the dream sequence, the guy's dressed like the monk, and then he like rips the clothes off.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's like that fourth wall stuff that the Naked Gun and Airplane did. So that's what I mean when I see a lot of those jokes that remind me of that, and the random dance sequence in front of the sticky bun place for no reason,
where they did the Thriller dance,
yes,
to Celebration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like that was part of the disconnect. I was like, this is obviously the Thriller dance. I don't know. Maybe there were times where I guess I was like, I think this is supposed to be a part I'm supposed to laugh at, but it just wasn't hitting for me.
I said this about Mike with Blind Fury, and I relate to this with this movie. Is I know that I would have more fun I would have had more fun watching this movie with somebody else.
Yes.
Like this is one of those. This is one of those movies where you watch with your buddies, and then if you don't immediately pick up on how ridiculous something, because the ridiculousness I understood that it's ridiculous, and I understood that it was meant to be comedy. I just didn't find it funny. Like, you know what I mean? That was my thing. I never thought to myself, I'm not co-signing with the bonus saying like it's not ridiculous enough. I'm not saying that at all. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it was ridiculous enough. It just wasn't funny enough. That's it.
And you've got a good point there. I can only bounce so many jokes off my 4-year-old who wasn't gross. Don't get me wrong. He thought it was spectacular. But I can only be like,
I would have loved for
target market is a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
I would have loved for the 4-year-old. I would have loved for the 4-year-old to look at his mom and be like, it's too intellectual for him.
He doesn't get it.
Oh my God, I just thought of one of the jokes after they win like a couple of games and their team's all getting interviewed by the media, and Mighty Leg goes, I want to say hi to my parents and to my master, but they're both dead. So hey, Mew. I was like, holy shit, like these guys are just throwing out these just like single lines that are just throwaways.
Yeah.
And it like it sticks. It just popped back into my head right now. I was like, holy shit.
In my mind, like the disconnect. So I do honestly, like I do feel there is a cultural disconnect in why it's funny, and that it's perfectly valid to not think it's funny because of that. I do think that one of the big things we're overlooking here is that this was supposed to be a parody and almost like a satire of the obsession with Shaolin that the world has as being like these mystical, magical people. That even when they like, oh, Shaolin is the answer to everything, is like a running gag in the whole thing. The fact that they're trying to basically get the squad together, and each of these guys has like a super obvious name and a super obvious single skill, and then they all, you know what I mean? Like all of this is also a send up on the martial arts movies where it's like, oh, we're magic, so we're gonna show the world that Shaolin can do all this stuff, and then in reality, it's like like almost like mocking it a little bit about the obsession with the martial arts and not taking it as serious, which I think is like it's not even like it was beyond even like Jackie Chan being goofy and like, oh, I hurt my finger while I beat this guy, you know, like that kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's like, oh no, yeah, that kind of like that. Like this is a straight up like satire of it, where it's like at the end, spoiler alert, where there's literally everybody's doing kung fu to get on the fucking bus, like that's the whole movie is basically just a mockery, like literally the guy that it's Team Evil, you know what I mean? Like,
yes,
it's literally Team Evil.
I wonder who the bad guy was though.
Yeah, I wonder. I love that the fucking goalie was Bruce Lee. Literally.
Yes. What sort of Bruce
Straight
Lee
up
look-alike
Bruce Lee
contest did they have to cast this guy?
And that was the winner?
Empty handed. Yeah.
But that was the gag, is that Bruce Lee was literally on the team. You know, like they were like emulating this Bruce Lee guy. And he was doing like all the hand motions, and he was.
And then they put the glasses on.
Yeah, they put the glasses
when he was on the stretcher.
Yeah,
he's pretty good as an impressionist. He was pretty good. He had the mannerisms down packed, I thought.
Because there were so many kung fu movies that were coming out after, like the obsession with the Bruce Lee, the next Bruce Lee. Literally, there were guys named Bruce Lee L.I., Bruce Lee L, you know, like Bruce B.R. with a different thing. It was Lee Bruce something. And they were
Bruce Leroy,
but I'm talking about even in China.
Yeah, I know, man. Come on, go with the joke, man. Come on, Bruce.
Now, what do you guys think about the way that Team Evil was created inside the pool with underwater scientists?
Even better.
Why were the scientists underwater?
Right. Yeah.
That's all I kept thinking about. I was like, the guys can be underwater. The scientists don't have to be underwater. Like this seems like a waste.
What I liked more than that was the fact that they were very specifically like, it's these American drums
Yes!
that are so good.
Yeah.
Now that shit, like that shit, I was like, okay, yeah, you got us. You got us on that one.
It was so great.
Yeah.
Bryce
Rookie says
Lee
Bryce
is a
Lee.
national treasure.
Yeah. That's yeah, I don't know. So there was a couple training montages. First of all, I do want to give recognition to the scene where all 5 brothers are looking at the same exact picture.
Oh yeah.
To basically be the one to convince them to join the team, and I was like, the same picture? It's not even like a different picture. And I did kind of chuckle at that. I was like, that's funny that it's the same exact picture. Is that a dog behind you, Debona?
That is my giant cat.
Oh, okay. I was.
It's a dog-sized cat.
It is a dog-sized cat.
Well, but I didn't know you had a cat, so I was like,
yeah,
it looks like a cat, but that looks like I didn't want to insult your dog. Isn't that funny how I didn't want to insult your dog by calling him a cat, but I had zero fucking problems calling your cat a dog? I'm like, no,
he's a Maine Coon. They're big old cats.
Hey man, come on, man. I know you're from Alabama, but
Jesus, guys.
Come on, man.
So Jesus, I don't even know how to go from there. So with the American, when they brought the American version over, there was actually some scenes that were taken out. They cut like 30 minutes of the movie, and then Miramax brought it back and put the full. If you watch the subtitle version, because there's a dubbed version, it doesn't have access to it. Yeah, the dubbed version's off.
Did anybody else notice? I watched this in the family share. Did anybody else notice occasionally somebody would say something and there wouldn't be a subtitle? You would just have to figure out what they said based on what the person said in response.
Yeah. It
happened 2 or 3 times.
That.
I didn't notice that. But I don't want to say that I paid attention too much. But I didn't. I didn't notice that at all.
At least twice, maybe 3 times, somebody would say something. There'd be no subtitle. Then the other person would respond, and it'd be like, "I think I know what they said."
I did notice one time where they said something and they gave the subtitle, and then the guy repeated basically the same thing, and it didn't put the subtitle the second time. But I was like, I guess he just repeated what he just said. So that's the way I took that. But
now, Stephen Chow, this was so they had a $10 million budget. They ended up grossing $42 million for the movie worldwide. A lot of people in mainland China wanted a sequel. And he didn't want to do a sequel. He wanted to do something else, which is how Kung Fu Hustle came about, which we will eventually talk about. But there is a scene in Kung Fu Hustle that's a throwback to this, where in an opening scene, they're playing soccer. He stops the soccer ball, smashes it, and says, "No more soccer," as like a little like homage to this. A lot of the jokes.
I almost hope that the fucking wheel picks Shaolin's Kung Fu Hustle. Like I almost wish
it's actually I think it's a stronger movie than this one but I love this movie. But what I was gonna say is there's a lot of jokes to go and support what Debona and Neri are saying. Like there's a lot of jokes that go over our heads because a lot of the actors in the movie are famous or popular Asian actors, like the Smash Mouth looking guy from Team Puma, in that first game that they play, that he ends up getting kicked into the.
He looked like the guy from Smash Mouth.
Yeah, the lead singer of Smash Mouth. He's like a famous like comedian over there. The girls that have the weird random facial hair, that's a callback to one of his older movies where that's a joke. And those 2 girls are also famous actresses, like Asian actresses. So but unless you knew and you've seen the movies, you don't get the jokes. So I understand 100% where a lot of this is kind of just like, you're just like, okay, I guess this is funny. Supposed to be funny. I don't know, but that's something interesting about that.
I feel like this whole movie has a lot of inside jokes that we are not inside of. That's all I'm saying. We're not inside on a lot of the things that, like, some of the outlandishness of this movie is funny, man. I'm telling you, I loved like watching guys get kicked into the net. You know, like I loved watching them do like the big heavy dude just suddenly be super light and go flying into the air. I loved all that stuff because it was just goofy. I didn't really watch like Blind Fury. I expected something. This movie, I expected nothing. So it's like, you know, it's like this movie didn't feel as heavy to me because I knew there's elements of it that I'm just gonna have to let wash over me, and I'm not fully gonna get all the jokes. Like I genuinely think we're missing out on the whole fucking the girl story, because that's a huge part of the story too. The Mew girl that she makes the buns using Tai Chi, like she does the whole fucking thing or whatever, and then she loses the job because She's salting the
She's
buns with her
crying.
tears. That's how much she's crying. Like the exaggeration of all that shit is I think culturally part of the joke.
But you know, it's funny because I didn't think that was an exaggeration, but I did like that the writing in that. I'm like, oh, it's salty because she's crying into the thing. I never stopped to think, oh, that's an exaggeration. I was like, oh, she's just crying, and like that took it
the
for what
sheer
it was.
volume of tears coming out of that woman's body. Like
Yeah.
she,
What?
she
No,
just
but it wasn't. It wasn't.
It was like a
It wasn't
tear, it was like a
cartoony.
And then it was just like dropping down here.
No, but you didn't
Yeah,
see the pool of water
Yeah,
underneath.
yeah.
That's more than what
But nobody said that all of that was tears. It was water because she does mix it with water naturally. It doesn't normally come with water. The first time we see her mixing, there is water. I never stopped to think that whole puddle was tears. That's what I'm saying. I never got that. But I did enjoy. I did like that as a writing perspective. I did like, oh yeah, she's crying. That's why they're salty now. That makes sense. I'm like, oh, that's sweet. Like I literally thought that. I'm like, oh, that's a sweet moment.
But I also love that she used kung fu to do a perfectly menial task and make sweet buns. Like that was a whole other part.
There's no menial task, my friend. Everything could be kung fu. Ask Mr. Miyagi. That's how we do shit, bro. Right?
Well,
that's how like
he says we like he uses kung fu every day.
Yeah, like making a pot. Like let's say you're gonna make a pot, right? You're making a pot, and then you could grab somebody's head, and then you could put the knee up. That's how you need somebody's head. It's a line from Karate Kid Part 3, but whatever.
I'll take it as
the Karate Kid that didn't. Nobody really watched that one. I don't know anybody who's like, oh yeah, like Karate Kid 3. Let me quote the quotable Karate Kid 3.
Yeah. If an enemy cannot see, he cannot fight. Yeah, that's a fucking. What are you talking about? That's a great Karate Kid 3.
Neri made me watch Karate Kid 3 before I was allowed to keep watching Cobra Kai. He was like, no, stop.
Yeah,
now.
Cobra Kai season 3.
Yeah,
there's a lot to do with Karate Kid.
You have to watch Karate Kid 3. So I've seen that within the past year for the first time.
And it's not a bad movie. I think it gets a bad rap, to be honest with you. I think it doesn't get enough. All right, so Shaolin Soccer. So it made some money. Made this guy money. He was already popular apparently in other parts of the world.
Yeah, he had tons of movies, and he probably also got a bunch of money from Puma because Puma was everywhere.
Oh, everywhere.
How much money did Puma have to put into this movie?
I was
how much money did Puma want to put into?
Yeah,
this
that's
movie?
what I was like. That's what like they were like
1,000 sticky buns. They had to put in 1,000 sticky buns, and that's how they got.
Considering that dude ate them in one bite, I'm guessing that dude can go through some sticky buns.
Yeah.
If you think he could go through some sticky buns, wait till you see his brother. Oh shit, dude. His brother could put them away, dude.
But yeah, like so all the gear was Puma. The Smash Mouth team was Team Puma. The ball when they kick the ball and it turns into that beast, it's a Puma.
And that final scene, it was like if the whole movie had been that. That's what I was like. Yeah, like kick the ball in it. Yeah, like you were saying when like on the anime where like a phoenix appears when he kicks. Like that was the shit that I was looking for like the whole movie.
That last match was pretty rad. Yeah.
Yeah,
like that saved the movie for me. That final game.
Oh, it wasn't enough to save the movie, but it was still good. Like I did enjoy that last match. Here's my question to Jeff, because this is something that he's a stickler for, and he brought up during our first episode of Sidekicks. That game was not a win. That's a tie. He kicked Bruce Lee the ball in Bruce Lee's face, and Bruce Lee himself went with the ball through the fucking net. That should have been a goal.
I don't think it went through the net.
I don't know that they ever showed the ball in the net. They just showed Bruce
Lee.
They
showed the ball. No, it showed the ball in his face, and he himself, the body went all the way back. The net was behind him.
But I don't think the ball went into the net. I can look it up right now while we talk.
Because I remember thinking, I don't know if the ball went in the net or if it was just Bruce Lee.
I thought it was just Bruce Lee that he hit it and it caused the thing to like move. But
wasn't the ball in his face? Didn't the ball stay in his face, or did I see that incorrectly?
I think that that was the scene where it hit his face and then landed outside, and then he basically was like fucking with him, like to not get the goal, but like he kicked him to the point where he felt like he got like when he got his clothes blown off and all that shit. Come on, you told me that it wasn't. That's so.
Like I said, that last
match was good, man.
Was what I was looking for from the whole movie.
Well, you don't want to blow your load in the first.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like,
I know.
You don't want to blow your load in the first hour and 25 minutes. You want to fucking wait till the last 15 minutes, bro. That's what you want to get
to a climax. You
the
build
the tantric sex of Shaolin movies.
He goes through the net. The ball goes up in the air. So they did not score the goal.
Watching it right now. 1-0 victory.
Yeah.
I can't believe we're literally having an argument about did the ball go in Bruce Lee's face or after it turned into a puma and ripped all his clothes off and caught fire.
Okay, so speaking of the win, let me see if you guys noticed this because I watched all the way through the credits to see if this was credited. So after they win, when they go get the trophy, did y'all notice that the music playing was the music from when Simba returns to Pride Rock in The Lion King?
Was it really?
I shit you not, to the point that my wife was in another room and I was like, do you hear this? And she goes, that's The Lion King. I said, it's the fucking Lion King. And she goes, yeah, it's when Simba returns to Pride Rock.
I can hear it in my mind where it's like, da, na, na,
yes,
na,
go
na,
watch
na,
the
na.
trophy ceremony again and listen. So I watched through the credits because I was like, oh, Disney gonna sue somebody. But it was like, there was like, all right, yeah, we did Celebration. Here's Carl Douglas, right, with Kung Fu Fighting. All the rest was original music. And I was like, the fuck it was.
I gotta go back now and
I genuinely
go back and watch that trophy ceremony scene, and I promise you that is Simba returning to Pride Rock.
Oh my god! So let me ask
somebody
you.
Needs to do a side by side. Somebody needs to do a YouTube side by side shit.
Not on here though, because then we'll get.
No, we can't. We can't do it.
Tennis.
Oh God, motherfucker!
So let me ask you guys: who was your favorite of the brothers? Like, what was your favorite ability?
I don't give a fuck. I'm absolutely
lightweight.
Fucking partial. I'm absolutely like, I don't give a shit. The fat guy was great.
I love that picture. This is what I used to look like.
Yeah, that's what I used to look like. The one thing that I was upset about that movie, this is and again, this is me being butthurt or whatever, or sensitive about the weight issue, is the way fat people are portrayed in movies. I get it. This is a spoof, right? I get it, right? Look, this is the way I used to look. But the one thing that bothered me about the fat guy's character is the way he ate potato chips. I'm like, no self-respecting fat guy.
I hated that.
No self-respecting fat guy would let that many potato chips go to waste. There were so many. He put 2 of them in his mouth, and 1,000 came out like all over his shirt. I'm like, there's no self-respecting fat guy that would let that many go to waste. That's absurd to me. So that's the only thing. But the fat guy's my favorite character.
Lightweight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that a name? Lightweight? I thought it was Little Brother or whatever.
Well, yeah, no, they call each other brother, but they all have their own nickname.
Yeah, for me it was Hook Leg, the keeper. I liked the Bruce Lee aesthetic. I loved that his keeper kit was just was a game of death, right?
Yeah. Straight up game of death.
And as somebody who plays keeper in soccer, I'm gonna be partial to keeper characters. So I enjoyed his aesthetic of being Bruce Lee.
So hooking leg was actually the breakdancing one. He was empty hand. The goalie's empty hand.
Yeah, okay, empty hand. Then yeah, he was the one.
I like Mighty Leg. I just like the that he was always doing like some random just like run jump, whack, like smashing the thing. I just loved all of the craziness of his power, like that whole. I even love that scene where he kicks the can. And first introduction to like where he kicks the can, and then the guy sees it later, and it's like embedded in a wall. Like
that was a cool scene. Yeah,
it's like an exaggerated. It's like oh, okay.
What do you mean by exaggerated?
Do you kick cans into asphalt?
Not me, but I don't train in Shaolin. So yeah, I mean that's what I thought.
With the horribly CGI business card.
I'm just saying maybe RZA could do it. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying maybe
RZA,
yeah. No, like Ironhead was my favorite. Just the subtlety of Ironhead, and like when you see him in the bar, and like that running joke of them just yelling at him and smashing bottles on his head, and there's no reaction. Kills me every time I saw that gimmick, that bit come up again. I absolutely loved him. There
was the other scene. There was another scene where they're playing their first match, and this guy kicks it from the middle of the field into the goal, and he goes, "What just happened?" And then he did it again, and he goes, "Wait, is this real? Like he didn't understand what. He's like, what? And then the third one, he kicks the third goal, and he was like, "Oh, come on, man, give us a chance." Like he was like that kind of made me chuckle. Where he was like, "Come on," because that's happened to all of us when we're playing somebody who we think we're gonna beat, and then they score on us, and we're like, "Wait, what? What happened? No, just do that." No, that was all right.
That's when you got to sit up, right? When you're playing the video game.
You go, no, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready
anymore. That's when you gotta get serious with it.
No, I had a friend of mine that played racquetball, and he would be like, "Oh, let's play racquetball," and I'm like, I want to play.
Now we're gonna get flagged by the American Racquetball Association.
Yeah, American Racquetball Association. And it would be genuinely like I want to play racquetball. I don't want to watch you win racquetball. You know what I mean? Like because he knew how to hit it where it would go like and it would hit right where I couldn't get it.
Yeah.
And then he's like 21-0. I'm like, is this fun for you? Is this like do I?
Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained? Yeah, I get it. You want to practice your serve? Go fine.
No, and the final score of that game, because in the next scene, the main bad guy is like, wait, 40-0?
Yeah.
So it was a 40-0 soccer match.
I don't, here's, I mean, there's a lot that I don't like about the film, but what I wish would have happened was that the bad guy would have, I was expecting and wanting the bad guy to hurt his leg when he fucking fell down. That would have been justice. Like he fell down in the stands. Remember, we were like, "Oh, and he's like, get away from me!" And then he falls down.
He broke that other guy's
because
leg.
he broke the other guy's leg.
Yeah.
He broke Golden Leg's leg, and I was like, "No, his leg needs to break. There needs to be." No, all he did was get fired for drug use. He didn't get physically injured, and like I thought that would have been poetic justice because he fell. They already wrote it into the script. It's not like I'm not asking them to fucking throw in some crazy shit. He already fell. They threw that in. I'm like, why don't you just make it so that he's injured from that fall? Like he broke his leg in that fall. That's it.
I wanted him to rip off his shirt like Joe Piscopo and sidekicks and like be part of the final game.
Okay, yeah.
Right, Joe Piscopo's name.
I did like that. Yeah, you're right. Like it did suck that there was kind of like not any real justice for like physical. Like he should have got his ass kicked in some way. Like,
yeah. I thought when they were like, you're down one player. I thought the coach was gonna come back in for one last play.
Me too. I thought Golden Leg was gonna come back in.
That's one last play, and then they were like, nope. And I like the fact that he keeps. This was kind of cool though. I like this though. I will say this. And again, I'm just trying not to be the negative guy because I don't want to be the everything sucked about this movie. So I'm trying to focus in on the few things that I liked about it. But I did like the fact that he kept calling this chick E.T. And it wasn't a one joke thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't a one joke thing. He kept calling. He's like, "Oh, I can help you." She's like, "You better phone home." Like he just kept fucking calling her E.T. Man. He don't give a fuck. And I was like, "Good for you, bro. All right, I get it."
Come on, man! This movie's funny. This movie's great.
No, that's not funny. That's not funny.
Made a really good point in the fact that I'm enjoying reliving it with y'all more than
that's what I'm saying. Like this is clearly
I think that,
watching this movie. Look, I had watching, and again, I hating to go back to previous episodes. If you haven't listened to the previous episodes, there's already been 3 other ones. Calm down. But going back to what we said on Blind Fury, like I watched this movie with my wife and my kids, Blind Fury, and we all got the ridiculousness of it. And watching now, a week later or 2 weeks later, depending on when you're listening to this, watching this movie, watching Shaolin Soccer by myself, it did not hit the same. And I know, as I was watching it, I thought to myself, this would be better if I watched it with other people. Yeah. If I had somebody to watch it with, if I had my wife or my friends. Like somebody, not that my wife isn't my friend, because she's my best friend. But I'm not just saying
disclaimer.
I'm not just because she will flag this fucking podcast. She will flag this video.
She'll report you to the U.S. Tennis Association.
Yeah, but I knew even like I'm telling you, I was watching it at the airport. And I got to my terminal like 3 hours early, right? Just because it wasn't like specifically for this reason, but I had. Not for nothing. I don't want to get, but United has some nice fucking setups in Jersey, dude. They have they don't just have regular seats. They have a seat with an iPad in front of you, and you got to pay to use the iPad. But I had my own iPad, but you can still sit in that chair, use your own iPad, and be charging it while you're using it. So it was pretty fucking. And I got there 3 hours early, well before my flight, so it wasn't even busy around me. I had my headphones on. It was great. I watched it in comfortable circumstances, but I knew then while I was watching it, I was like, this would be better. This would hit more if I was watching it with other people, and it wasn't the case. It wasn't, but yeah. It's kind of like when you're talking about a movie and somebody doesn't like it, and then you go, "Bo, what about this line?" And then they start laughing, and they go, "But you liked it," and they go, "Yeah, but I like the way you said it, not the way, the way." You know what I mean? It's kind of like that. Like I'm like, no, I'm having fun talking about it right now, but I wasn't having fun watching it.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel about it right now.
Yeah. Also, I've compounded every scene and line that I like from the movie, so within 20 minutes, so that feels like it's better than it was. I just didn't enjoy it.
I mean, you haven't seen it yet, but Dabone has seen it. And I think you said you saw it. Without this movie, we wouldn't have gotten Kung Fu Hustle, and because Miramax, they got this, and then because they liked this, they picked up because Kung Fu Hustle existed in Asia, but it was not over here, and they were like, okay, well, let's add Kung Fu Hustle, and it was a third movie. I can't remember what.
So by the
is it a fried chicken? Is it Kentucky Fried or something?
That's Kung Pao, I think. Is what you're
no, there's a movie called Kentucky. I swear to God,
it's Kentucky Fried Movie, but that's those are the airplane guys.
Yeah, those are the airplane guys.
Okay, I was just asking, dude.
So by Dave's theory of transition, that makes this better than Kung Fu Hustle, right?
No.
Because we wouldn't get Kung Fu Hustle.
No, but Dave was wrong then, and he's wrong now. This is the moment you started off wrong. The moment you go by Dave's logic, we're like, no, we're it.
Now, the principle is flawed.
Now, let me tell you this, because I know we're almost out of time, but I'm dying to see the Italian dub of this because they got professional soccer players from Italy to voice all the characters.
What?
In this movie?
That sounds fun.
In the Italian dub, I want to see just how terrible that could possibly be.
I kind of want.
I don't speak Italian though.
Yeah.
There's a flaw in your plan.
I will say that this is one of those movies that if there was a better dub version of it, like where they you know how when they rewrite they do punch up for scripts and stuff like that, they can regionalize it a little bit more if they do a good dub. But I mean, who's gonna do that? You know, I don't know what the effort would be, but I feel like this movie would be better.
I would do it if if YouTube would let me. Oh shit! We said YouTube. Fuck! No. There was a funny thing that happened before. So he was Jeff right before we press record and right before you guys got on. Jeff was asking all these he was doing research, bullet points about the movie. And he goes, "Is MGM and Miramax the same?" I go, "No. MGM has a lion, and Miramax has a pedophile." So those are
rapist. He's a rapist.
Rapist. I'm sorry. I apologize. I don't mean to.
Right.
I apologize. Sexual assault artist.
Yeah.
My God, Jesus Christ! Now the National
Maybe
Women's
this
Association.
one should get flagged.
Nambla is gonna flag this one for comparing a rapist to a pedophile.
Hate speech. Oh my God! Fuck all of it. Fuck all of it forever.
Gong Manufacturers of America.
Yeah. Did you like that they got married at the end? Like the tabloid kind of.
Oh, it was a Time magazine, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Was it Time magazine? I don't remember exactly what it was.
Time magazine. No, I didn't like it. I genuinely enjoyed the fact that he was like, "No, we're just friends. What are you fucking talking about? What's wrong with you?" Like he was totally fine with being friends, and I liked that because it flipped the stereotype on its head. It was like that trope of a movie where it's like, "Hey, I've been like building you up just so I could have you to myself." Like, no, this guy was like, "No, dude, I'm building you up because you're a human being. You're beautiful. Stop hiding your fucking face behind your hair. Do I want to date you? God no. But you are still beautiful." Like that's I thought that was a cool thing. And then they were like, and they get married. I was like,
See, he has this elaborate thing. My thing is Shaolin monks aren't supposed to get married. So I was like, wait,
he wasn't a monk.
He was. They were all. That's how
They were former.
They were
monks.
all former.
They were all former monks. They weren't acting monks. I've met a guy who used to be a monk and then retired from being a monk. I actually met Jay Shetty. So he told me the whole story about how he was a monk for 3 years, and then he wasn't.
You can retire from being a monk?
Yeah. It's you can retire from being a priest. You don't have to always be. You know what I mean? Once you're a priest, you could be like, no, I don't want to be a priest anymore. You could do that if the calling doesn't.
Didn't know that one either.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't usually
get kicked out. I don't know how, but
no, you can't get kicked out. You can just get reassigned. You never get kicked out. You never get
yeah.
Mike is like, it's too late. I had a flight. I can't make this. I'm fucking done with this motherfucker right here.
It's not necessarily that. I'm just like, I wish there was a way for me to like just slide my frame out of frame. Like just like slowly but surely, just like distance myself.
You just move the camera and you go. Okay, real quick because we got 5.5 minutes left. What's your review? What's your star rating between 1 through 5? Jeff, how many sticky buns?
Yeah, tasty sticky buns. I'm gonna give this a 4 out of 5. I adore the movie. It still holds up.
But what's your reason for not giving it a full 5 if you adore the movie?
Because
like what stopped you from giving it a 5? Or did you just eat the fifth one?
Well,
did
because
you just eat the fifth sticky button.
I'm, and I don't know if I probably shouldn't do this. I'll probably give it a 4.5 because from what I remember, I like Kung Fu Hustle more, and I feel that that's probably going to end up being a 4.5. But you know what? You know what? 4.5 out of 5. 4.5 sticky buns out of 5.
Again, my question is, what stopped you from giving it a 5? If you adore this movie, what stopped you from giving it a 5?
I don't think it's a perfect movie. Just because I adore the movie doesn't mean that it's a perfect film. Okay. I can see I can see some of the things that you guys are talking about, and because I'm trying to take out my genuine love and look at it from a more a better perspective of like. So
you're better than I am because once we get a movie that I like that I picked on the list, I'm fucking going all in on my list.
Oh, I know you gave Blind Fury 5.
Well, no, that wasn't even. But that wasn't my pick. Once a movie comes up that's my pick, I will wholeheartedly go with full nostalgia and be like, it's a fucking 5. It's a perfect movie. I don't care what you say about No Retreat, No Surrender.
Didn't you put Sidekicks on the mount? You put Sidekicks on the wheel.
Yes and no. I picked it because I put it on there, but I thought it was because remember I was picking for Missy because she didn't have any picks, so I was picking it for her based upon my memory.
Yeah.
No, based upon my memory of the movie.
Go.
All right, go ahead. DeBono? Rating?
So I went into this ready to give it like a really low one. I will admit I've had some chuckles and stuff going through it right now. So I am gonna give it. I'm gonna give it 2 sticky buns. I was ready to not give it that, but I have now talking with y'all found some more moments that I'm getting some more chuckles out of thinking about them again. So I'm gonna give it 2 out of 5 sticky buns.
Okay, Mike.
I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5. Flaming, spinning demon puma kicks out of fire. I'm giving it 4 out of 5. ET phone home callbacks. I'm giving it 4 out of 5. Whatever the
tear-soaked yin yang made buns.
Yeah. I'm
4
giving
out of 5 underwater scientists.
4 out of 5 underwater scientists agree that this movie is a movie.
I'm with the bone on this. I was prepared the whole time I was watching this movie. I'm like, this is gonna be my first one. This is gonna be the first time I give a movie a 1. I didn't even give Sidekicks a 1. It can be a thing. But in talking about the movie, I realized that I was right. So it's gonna be a 1. 1. I'm kidding, but that's the funny. That's what you get when you go to KickFlix. No, I'll give it a 2. The bonus, right? The more I talk about it, the more I'm like, hey, it wasn't it wasn't completely useless. So yeah, I will go ahead and go with 2 sticky buns out of 5. I'll give it 2. So there you go. So that's it, man. That's our rating. We got to do the wheel picker real quick. Hold up. Sure.
Bona gets to be a part of the super wheel.
The super wheel. Wheel of morality. Turn. Tell us the lesson that we should learn.
All right, here we go. For the listeners, you know the drill. NetflixPod@gmail.com if you want us to add a movie to the list.
KickFlixPod.
I'm sorry. I
Jesus
apologize.
Christ.
You have no idea. I'm running all of it for all different sites, so I apologize. You're right. KickFlixPod@gmail.com. Email us your pick to add to the wheel. Here we go.
I hope it's one of somebody else's pick because I've gotten 2 picks already in a row.
Oh, come on. Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Street Fighter 1994 is the winner.
I think that was that mine too. I think that was mine.
No,
I
I
actually
actually
Daenerys. I had to.
no, I actually added it just now, like literally like 10 minutes ago to the wheel. And the way I add movies later on, I put them in the middle. I stack. I don't put them all the way at the end because then I put them in the middle. But it was just because I realized I only had 2 Van Damme movies on the list, and I was like, no, this can't fucking be. We gotta add more Van Damme movies. So I stacked the list more Van Damme movies. All right, man. Thank you guys for checking us out. KickFlix, that's our kicking is done. We actually don't have to go extremely to 60 minutes because this one is live, so we're okay here. But make sure you guys go to all our social media at KickFlix Pod. It's like Netflix, but with a kick. KickFlix Pod. All of our social media. Again, email us at kickflixpod@gmail.com to add movies to the list. And then we'll talk and review about the movie. Just make sure it's a martial arts movie. And as a correction to myself, I was pointed out my errors in previous episodes. There was no boxing movies in the list because I was unaware, and I'm being completely transparent. I was unaware that boxing was an actual martial art. I thought that kicking had to be a thing, and I was wrong. I looked it up myself. Nobody had to tell me to look it up. I looked it up myself. I go, oh fuck, I've been wrong. My bad. So we're adding boxing movies onto the list. So thank you very much. Debona, thank you for stepping in and hanging out with us. Appreciate you guys. Make sure you check out all of our social media. It's on the screen there. If you're listening to the audio version of this, as most of you are, go back to our Facebook, go back to our YouTubes pages, and the links are on our bios everywhere. So make sure you check that out at KickFlix Pod. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. And that's how kicking is done.
KickFlix.